wait. Before we go live, we're talking about the pay-per-view, right?
Of course. All right, so we are live. I hit the button too soon. My bad. What's up, ladies and gents? I am your host with the most, Matty G, coming at you live right here in Suplex City Chats. I am your host, Matty G. I'm going to go around the panel and introduce my brothers. I'm going to start with the man to my right tonight. That would be the man, the myth, the legend, JB3. Give you too sweet, my brother.
What's up? Man, it's been a crazy week for wrestling. We had a pay-per-view, we had a Raw, we had an NXT, some AEW, had a lot of stuff, and we had even Dark. I don't know if you were going to talk about Dark, but yeah, a lot of wrestling. I'm ready to talk about it.
Yes, sir. All right, so we'll go to the man next to you. He is also the myth, the legend. He is the villain. Haven Pendergast, my brother, give you too sweet myself.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Yeah, man. We had a lot of great wrestling. Well, we got a big pay-per-view to talk about. I think I won the predictions on that. I think I only got 2 wrong.
Maybe you did. As a matter of fact, you did.
Yeah. So that's
right. We all lost by one. I do want to point out though, real quick, we all lost by 1 point. He got us by 1 match, gentlemen. So
that's how I do it, baby. That's how I do it, baby.
I want to point out you almost called the mystery for the ladder match. I was like, "Are you sure?" And you maybe should have taken it. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's drop down to the other man on the panel. He is the Painmaker. Riot Pain. Too sweet, my brother.
Too sweet. It feels good. I mean, I've been talking about the Double or Nothing pay-per-view with so many other people. I think it's finally good to, I got some more thoughts on this pay-per-view, but because it happened at the last Suplex City, I've begun a time stopwatch on myself. I go over 3 minutes, I stop talking, pretty much.
Oh, we got Haven. We got somebody talking to you. Good job. He got 3 wrong. There was a couple of shockers that I do want to get to, but let's welcome our newest member to the panel tonight. He is the quote-unquote icon, Chris Day. Too sweet, my brother. Welcome back to Suplex City Chats.
I don't know if I should do that. I don't know if he would get mad at me. I never did
God
that.
Damn
but
it.
no, you're good.
Hey, we bring no beef, no feuds into this. This is all
no beef. Nah. We all good. No, I'm glad to be here. It's cool, and it's good to see y'all again. Haven, I haven't seen you in a long time. It's good to be back. It's been actually, I'm the guy who's been talking so much crap on Raw after Mania. It's actually getting good, and we'll talk about that. And I'm surprised to even say that. But I love talking wrestling. I'm just here to talk wrestling again.
Yeah, I do agree. Personally, my opinion, all wrestling right now has been pretty popping, So I kind of want to talk about something that the Painmaker brought up last week, and that was the Timothy Thatcher Matt Riddle feud. They went down into the NXT Fight Pit. Is that right? Painmaker, why don't you kind of, for our viewers, maybe they didn't catch it, kind of give us a little bit of the backstory on what happened there. And then we'll talk about the Fight Pit itself.
Okay, the backstory about this feud, it started pretty much during when the shutdown happened. Pete Dunne, who was Matt Riddle's team partner for the NXT Tag Champions, he couldn't be able to commit. So Timothy Thatcher was Pete Dunne's replacement. And for a few weeks, they were trying to build this newly budding friendship between Thatcher and Matt Riddle, which led to Riddle creating the Newly Bro Show, which led to them having to fight against the Undisputed Era, which they won. And then we got a short feud with Imperium, which was Fabian and Eichner, which led to a tag team match for the championships. Miscommunication happened, which caused Thatcher to walk out on Matt Riddle, which led to Imperium becoming the tag team champions. And from there on in, that's when the change happened. Thatcher started attacking Riddle. He started blaming him for their problems. A short feud developed, which led immediately into a match between Riddle and Thatcher. which had Riddle winning and Thatcher ending that match, with the highlight of him using the Fujinara armbar while he's just menacingly looking into the camera. And then later on, like the week after, Matt proposed Thatcher wanted a shot Riddle. Riddle said they needed to fight in a cage. And that's what led to this match, with the special guest announcer being special guest referee being Kurt Angle.
And the cool thing about that match, in my opinion, was the fact that it's not your typical cage match. It is you have to be knocked the fuck out. Oh, call back to Friday. Young man, you got knocked the fuck out. Oh, wait. Or a submission. I like that because it kind of, it made this fight feel more real, I loved it. I thought personally, as a wrestling match, I want to premise that this was my favorite wrestling match of the week. Now, our weeks, if people don't know, go from SmackDown through the Wednesday Night Wars, because our show comes on Thursday, so we call our week that. In my opinion, this was the best wrestling match of the week. It was brutal. Kurt Angle actually got in there. But the bummer thing I had is, like we were talking about off camera, they had announced that Matt Riddle was getting called up a couple of days before the match. It was kind of like, he's going to go on his back. Haven, what's your thoughts on this, brother?
Yeah, I agree with you on your last point. We kind of seen the writing on the wall when they announced his call up. And, and that's typical WWE booking. It's always 50-50. So, Riddle won the first one, Thatcher wins this one, and then the feud's kind of just non and void. And then now he's going to go on to SmackDown. Thatcher's still going to be on NXT probably for a while. I mean, maybe in a year we'll see this feud. They might circle back to it, which will probably be exciting then. But yeah, this was a hell of a match, man. I thought the cage looked cool. I like the different stuff. It wasn't just like the regular shit they always do. I thought that was unique. They did a couple different things to it. Those people in the crowd this time, with the whole barricade or the hockey type of setup. So I guess we'll talk about that another time. But yeah, it was a great match. It was a good match. I can't hate on it. It was a good fucking match. If you're a wrestling fan, this is what you live for. You want to see two wrestlers go out there and have, and just burn it up. And these guys did.
Yeah. All right. Something about that, though. His teeth. Oh, my God. That was just, I know it was fake. It was obviously staged because blood doesn't look like that. But just the way they pulled it off looked really cool, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mr. Day, have you seen the match in question?
I watched the match a couple hours ago, and I thought it was terrific. I thought it was everything I really wanted out of it. I thought Kurt Angle did a really good job as a referee. And, yes, as somebody who works, trying to make blood look real, and obviously not doing the best I can, but it looked real. It looked great. And, I liked it a lot.
Oh, Jacob Barber. Oh, I like this answer. Yes. Lesnar and Riddle in a fight pit. I would absolutely dig that because they both have that MMA background. Kind of like Haven was bringing up, the fact that it wasn't just a wrestling match. They included the MMA aspect because both guys have that. Like Riddle using the cage to do a backflip off of to get out of that hold. JB3, what did you think of Riddle and Thatcher in the cage, in the pit?
I enjoyed it a lot. It was great. The teeth spot they pulled off perfectly. Kurt Angle, it must be said. I'm gonna call it now. I want him to be a ref. I think he has the look. I can see him being like legendary referee, like 20 years from now. Like he's like the gold medalist, and he's all still bald and old, but still have muscles. Looks weird. But yeah, it was a great match. I thought Angle did what he needed to do. It brought like more eyes, made it more mainstream because he's the big Kurt Angle. As far as the fight pit, it was different and it was great. I know people say it was a lot like the Lion's Den, which is true, but they had like the platform up top, which I thought was a good touch. You know, did the floating bro off of it. Yeah, like Matt Riddle lost, and like he said, typical 50-50 booking, and we all knew that he was going to go out on his back because he's going up to SmackDown. And I don't know if this is going to be a segue moment, but I know why he's going to SmackDown. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Jacob Barber, I mean, as much as you want Brock Lesnar versus Matt Riddle in the pit, I'm pretty sure that the reason that he's going to SmackDown is because Brock Lesnar is like, nah, I'm not going to work with him.
Yeah, I could see that. Okay, let's segue into it. Why do you think SmackDown over Raw?
It's Brock Lesnar.
Just Brock Lesnar in general, huh?
Politics. Yeah. I think he just said, "Fuck that."
Okay.
I think it's just because they need fresh bodies up there. You know, they just threw AJ Styles over there. If you look at the last couple of weeks, you know, it's pretty much the same couple guys. You know, and they need to add depth to that roster, man.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar's never going to fight Matt Riddle. He already said that bridge is burned.
Right? Yeah, I agree.
Goldberg ain't coming back to fight him.
Anytime soon. No.
Haven, you said something that's kind of interesting about AJ Styles. Pro Wrestling Sheet released an article that he said switching brands to him is kind of like a Band-Aid on the OC getting cut. It's kind of, a fresh look, which I could kind of see that because he's already openly said that, those were his boys and he felt kind of bad that he stayed and they got cut. So maybe, a change of scenery, for lack of a better term. I think it's kind of bullshit. I think it's political bullshit. I think they just needed, like you said, more bodies over there and somebody to kind of maybe take the spot of Roman. That kind of headliner, somebody you could build the pay-per-view around. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I don't want to keep cutting in because I know the other two guys haven't said nothing, but just to touch on that, Roman Reigns is gone. We don't know when he's coming back, and Sami Zayn is gone. We don't know when he's coming back. So those two guys are out. They brought two new guys in. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Painmaker Day, what you got?
Well, look, I have to agree that, when it comes to Riddle, he's going to SmackDown for both those reasons because Brock Lesnar wants nothing to do with him, and they really do need a fresh injection of new talent involved in SmackDown because after the whole Intercontinental Tournament, the matches we saw, we do need a fresh injection of we do need a new superstar to shake things up. Hopefully with Riddle there, we can actually start getting some possibly like not some world class, but some pretty great matches with him and Daniel Bryan, him and Shinsuke, him and Cesaro. Heck, maybe he can make possibly, even though it won't be a great match, I think a fancy booking between him and Jeff Hardy could be a good, not a feud, but just like a good set of a match where Riddle can make Jeff Hardy look great, but at the same time, Jeff Hardy is still working with one of the young guys to show the proof that he can still go in the ring.
Hey, real quick, that would actually be cool. I'd like to see that because then you could see like Matt Riddle try the floating bro, and then he misses. And then when he gets up, he gets hit with the whisper in the wind. Like, that's how you do it. Like, that'd be a cool little thing.
That'd be a cool match. I like that.
Jeff Hardy working with someone who can work with the same pace as he can do, I think that would be a great match.
But we all know what's going to happen. He's going to Jeff Hardy's going to feud with Sheamus for a while. Let's be real.
Oh, also, Riddle versus Morrison as well. Sure, Morrison and Miz are on the program with Strowman, but I would love to see Morrison have possibly a match against Riddle. I mean, of course, with WWE, we don't know how the booking will go, but Riddle going to SmackDown, the possibilities are endless, especially with the new Intercontinental Champion hopefully coming soon. Riddle could be like that new young talent gunning for that belt before, and while they can keep other guys feeding them more to Braun Strowman, Riddle can be right there along for the Intercontinental title, bringing some prestige to that belt.
Oh, come on. You mean they're going to give the belt to AJ Styles? Let's be real. But anyways, Jay, what you got on that?
Brian could get it.
I think they will give the belt to AJ Styles first off. But for me, I think the biggest thing is the fact that all these NXT stars are getting the spotlight and getting to move up. I mean, look at how it's looked like. Andrade won the United States, Drew won the Rumble, and now he's the WWE champion. My thoughts are I was surprised because I know not anytime soon they're going to get rid of Gargano and Cole. Those are the two top guys right now. So the fact that they moved somebody like Matt Riddle up to SmackDown is a big, great thing. It surprised me because I didn't think they were going to put him up so soon because I think he still had a lot, in my eyes, he still had a lot left to prove on NXT. But I mean, it's just time. I think that's kind of a thing where it's time. As for him going to SmackDown, I'm still broken that Roman's not. I mean, we all know how much I love Roman, but I mean, I'm broken. He's not coming back anytime soon. But really, there's not really any opponents for Braun. Really, I mean, there's the only real thing right now. I mean, is that the fact that these bigger guys are getting more shots, like Otis and Braun. But you see Matt kind of in that thing. I mean, I honestly think he can make a big approach at Royal Rumble. I'm not saying it now, but I mean, I think he might win it. If it's just the way that you're thinking how it's going to go, it's pretty impressive.
Wow, he is fantasy booking way into the future.
Way too early.
I think Roman might be that big trade that they're talking about for later. They might just
I could see that too.
Bring him to Raw.
I could see that too, and I think it would be smart for him to go back to Raw. I think honestly, not just being a huge fan of Roman, I think it's smart. I think it's time to take him back to Raw. He had his thing in the SmackDown. He's done everything he needs to. Have him kind of have a feud with Seth. I mean, we obviously saw at the Rumble.
Disagree 100%. I think Roman should still be in SmackDown because Seth, he's doing something good on Raw with his little Messiah angle. And while he's not got what he's doing right now, I think he's a perfect guy to get other faces involved with him. Bringing Roman back is just going to be people are going to constantly make Shield references. I think Roman on SmackDown, he can build himself there, and then possibly he doesn't need to get the Universal title. But I'm just saying, Roman there, he can maybe become a better worker, and also if he's given more creative control, we can probably see a whole different side of Roman than him with the vest and the whole Shield gimmick. And I'm just saying, hopefully.
I'd like to see heel Roman. I would like to see full blown.
I would too. I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
I mean, with the Usos.
With the Usos, yeah, like the family.
Roman physically going away from the Shield. I mean, he drops everything.
Now he's bringing cousins into it.
Yeah, maybe even Samoa Joe. Why not?
Yeah.
And they could call themselves
we don't talk about
it and go like that. I like that idea. All right, so is there anything really WWE you really want to discuss?
I do want to say
talk about
SmackDown. That outfit man he had in that ring, that was fire.
I got one. The fact that now that Mandy and Sonya are departing, I kind of have to say, I haven't got to say it lately, I'm pretty impressed with the way that she's getting built up. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be anything anytime soon, but I think Sonya is getting improving, and it's actually to a point where I actually like Sonya Deville now. So, I mean,
yeah. The last thing I want to talk about for WWE is a topic that we haven't discussed yet. Is that they now have some fans out there, and they have kind of a new setup, around the ring. I don't know.
Finally, Jesus.
Yeah, the whole hockey feel on that. I think it looks cool. I don't know what people are talking about because hockey's had that for generations, for decades. Yeah. And so I think that's a smart idea. I don't understand why it took them a month and a half, since they're $1 billion company to figure out how the fuck to put a couple people in the building, so that still kind of annoyed me. And then, but yeah, you hearing some crowd in the background. So this week just felt better, and it just looked better. And it just, I don't know. It's just like if you're used to watching wrestling, there's always people around. So when you're just hearing crowd, instead of just hearing these dry ass announcers, because when they didn't have anybody at all, just the announcers talking, I thought it was sucked.
It's awkward.
Don't matter what, if the match was great or not, I thought it still sucked because it just looked dead. But now they got something new. It just took them long enough. That's what I got.
Yeah, I like that. I hope they use that plexiglass thing, in something, like let a match get physical and like start, because when they throw people, they're still aiming for the protective barrier. I want to see somebody take a head and just smash into it, just like include that in the fight. But I do want to talk about though the end, since you brought that up, the end of Raw, where they had the NXT guys running in to break up Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. I'm really looking forward to this feud. I really am, because
Was it awkward for anybody else though in the beginning for Raw when all these NXT guys were just yelling and you're like, that kind of seemed like AEW a little bit, where it was just like some of these like competitors came in from NXT cheering. It kind of felt weird a little bit, but I got used to it quick. Sorry, Ryan.
No, to be honest, yeah, there's AEW similarities, but this was necessary. As what Haven was saying, having a crowd there does help with a match, not just with the energy, but also when the wrestlers are doing promo or when they're like, taunting or jeering to the crowd and they got no way to react off of, it throws everything off because then they don't have the energy, to keep up with the whole, with their character. Otherwise, yeah, I'm gonna be watching SmackDown for the next 2 hours, listening to echoes of Corey Graves or Michael Cole or Byron Saxton like constantly, and I don't want that. So with some of the NXT trainees or NXT wrestlers in the crowd, I'm okay with that. And the plexiglass thing, that works for me too, because that can add another whole layer to outside brawling. That, as much as I like AEW's whole idea, but every time when they have that little that half foot, like that up to your waist guardrail style, it's really dangerous for someone to get hurt. And as we've seen from last week's AEW Dynamite, that's just it's a bit unsafe at times.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. The only thing that I noticed about the new setup with Raw that kind of threw me off is kind of what Chris was talking about a little bit. It's almost like WWE or like Vince told the NXT guys who to boo for, who to cheer for, and everyone, they had to act like a crowd. Whereas like AEW, they stick to their characters. Like the heels will cheer the heels and they'll boo the faces, and vice versa with the other side. So there's that little dynamic that I haven't decided which one I like more, but yeah, that's I think that's great what Haven said with that. But I want to bring up one thing though, if I can, while I have the time. One, talking about the last WWE things. This is kind of a sour subject, but it's kind of a good subject. It's kind of like a miss and a hit. It's kind of like yin and yang. Charlotte Flair, she is like bothering everyone because she's just everywhere all the time. But this chick is like pulling out these performances after these performances, clinics after clinic after clinic. And it's almost like it's making it worse. Like she's showing up on every episode, but she's backing it up in the ring. Like usually if people are shoved down your throats, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they don't perform, it's like, yeah, get them out of here. But it's almost like she can just justify it herself. And it's kind of like, dang it. Like, we don't want to see you, but then you do a really good job.
Yeah, and
she's the queen.
Yeah, she is absolutely the queen. And I think she's getting a little overexposed right now, but I think she's dropping the title at In Your House, but that's a whole nother story. Jacob Barber brought up something. Do you think the Rey Mysterio retirement ceremony is going to set, he thinks, a 6-man tag or something at Backlash?
Yep, I agree. He's not going to fucking retire in the ring.
Yep.
Not yet.
No.
I agree 100%. There's going to be either a 6-man tag match or it will be just a regular tag match, but Rey Mysterio is going to be in their corner while Seth's going to be in the other team's corner. Like Rey's going to try to be an equalizer in this little like feud that's developing with Humberto Carrillo, Aleister Black, and Seth Rollins with his new team.
I kind of like Seth's character and the way he's bringing these kind of new guys in. Like yes, Buddy Murphy had been around. Oh, I'm sorry, call it Murphy. Had been around. He had been around for a while, but he was kind of getting stale. And then all of a sudden, that feud picked up with where he just stepped in with Seth Rollins, and now look at him. He's badass as hell, and now they've got Austin Theory. Austin Theory, thank you. And he's killing it. Like, I love that character, that whole Monday Night Messiah character. It's
amazing.
Even his theme is fantastic too. I like the choir and also kind of like ominous tone to it too. I'm gonna miss the Burn It Down theme, but I'm liking this whole thing he has. It adds more depth to his character.
Yeah, I don't think Burn It Down would work, so I like it.
No. Yeah.
What y'all think, Haven, JB3? What do you think of the Messiah and his disciples?
I mean, he's doing well. That's about all I got to say for it. I mean, yeah.
I'll say at first I was completely annoyed because first off, I mean, like, regardless of what anybody believes, when they were going so far into like the whole Messiah thing, and then like trying to make it so much like paralleling in a weird way. Like when they were pushing it, I was getting annoyed, but they kind of backed off and they let Seth just do similar things without kind of like pushing the verbiage so much, and it's starting to remind me of more and more of CM Punk leading the straight edge society a little bit more, and I'm starting to dig it a little bit more. As long as they can blur those lines more and not be so like overexposure with the verbiage, just have the fans are not stupid. It's kind of WWE's problem. Sometimes they think the fans are dumb, so we gotta push it. But yeah, it's warming up on me just because he's actually doing a really good job with it himself. He's really gotten himself into the character.
Yeah, he's really selling it. All right, gents. There's two major wrestling promotions. One of them, Saturday night had their, you could say, 1 year anniversary pay-per-view, and by God, did it deliver! Like it, by God. So yes, in our poll last week, the fill-in beat everybody by one match. Mr. Haven, I dubbed the whatever the fuck you want to call yourself, King Booker. I don't give a fuck what you call yourself. But gentlemen, In Your House is coming up, so we'll do the same thing and we'll just keep going, because it's usually us four anyways. So we'll just keep this train going, and we'll go through the year, and we'll see in December when everything restarts who's king of the mountain. So do we want to start with the pay-per-view and then jump into Monday or yesterday's, or do we want to? What do we want to do?
Start with the
We got to talk about the pay-per-view, dude.
All right, just making sure. So on the buy-in, we had the Best Friends and Private Party. This was, it was a match. I mean, it was good. It's entertaining. I think Private Party needs some fundamental work. Like,
hell yeah.
Like they just need a little bit of fundamental work. But I like the way it went. It was a good little match.
Private Party
and Best Friends.
Oh, okay,
just the match in general.
No, yeah, it was clear Private Party had a lot of ring rust, and it was showing. But yeah, you just give them more time to wrestle, more opportunity, more TV time. They'll get back to their style that they did when they were first showing up in AEW. But yeah, this was the right choice having the Best Friends win.
I think so.
I disagree.
Really?
I disagree. Well, look, the Best Friends are great and all, but I mean, okay, you got two dynamics here. You got rankings, which the Dark Order should get it, but with the pandemic, you never know what's happening. Where is Dark or Zuno, whatever. So,
yeah, they're stuck in Canada. I did a little digging. The Dark Order are stuck in Canada for the present time.
So, yeah, so the pandemic got them all messed up, So then you got this. Excuse me. You got this double dynamic here because Heyman has been going through this long-term story with Private Party. with the $12 and the not wanting to pay for drinks. And this big long term thing in my mind, if you're going to go based on story, Private Party should have won, and then it kind of continues on with Hangman into Kenny Omega, who are getting along great now. So that's the only reason. It doesn't have anything to do against the best friends. I think they're great, but I just think storyline wise, it should have went to Private Party, and I predicted them, and I didn't get it.
They were my pick too, JV3, and I had the same mirror as well. But when I learned that this was gonna be for Fyter Fest, I'm like, okay, Best Friends is good because right now Private Party, they can get another opportunity down the line. Heck, we might see them against Hangman and Page at All Out, to continue that storyline. They're definitely doing it in BTE, that's for sure.
Yeah. Do we think that they're okay? Quick question: you think Fyter Fest is going to be free again this year?
No.
I'm on the fence.
$50 pay-per-view stuff. I don't think we might have to pay for it, but it won't be that big. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Haven. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, Chris Day and I haven't gave our thoughts yet on that match.
I really have no thoughts. So, I mean, it was okay. That's all I really have to it. You can go ahead, David.
Yeah, I mean, both of the teams were lackluster, and the match was not that good.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I kind of figured they would give it to the other people because they were on the show. And I don't know, even when they fight the champs, I'm not going to be all that thrilled. But yeah, it was a dud for me.
Yeah. So we kind of all agree it was a match. It wasn't great. I like the fact though that they got it to kind of kick things off. It was kind of a slow. Let's just get into it. But gentlemen, we have the Casino Ladder match for a future AEW World Championship. We had Luchasaurus, Frankie Kazarian, Kip Sabian with Jimmy Havoc and Penelope Ford. Joey Janela, Orange Cassidy, Boom Boom, Colt Cabana, Darby Allin, and our mystery opponent, otherwise making his AEW debut, Brian Cage with Taz. This match was bonkers. There's one spot that just I don't know how the fuck he's not broken. Was when Darby Allin did that ollie off the top of the ladder through the other ladder on the skateboard.
That was wild. That match was crazy. There were so many different aspects to it. Now, first off, like as soon as I knew the Casino Battle Royal was like first on the main card or whatever, I was like, well, I got my prediction wrong. That was like automatic. So I was like, oh well, let's just enjoy the match. And holy moly, I mean, not just that spot, but like, Joey Janela, I like how he comes in and just like does like a somersault senton or whatever and knocks out a couple guys. There was a few jankety moments, but like he was funny. But yeah, as soon as Brian Cage came in, I mean, it was the show. I mean, golly, the F whatever that he put out, and then
F5000 basically.
Yeah, and then, the tease of the singles, with Luchasaurus, even some Darby Allin. Now I want to see Darby Allin continue. I know it's unbelievable that Darby Allin can even touch him, but I want to see that feud just because Taz and Darby Allin already started the little seed. But all in all, man, that was a really, really good match, and I was surprised by the mystery guy. And I hope they do this match every year, and I hope they have a mystery guy every year.
I'd like to see a women's version of it too. Mr. Villain, what you got, homie?
Yeah, that Darby Allin spot was just ridiculous. They shouldn't have did that, man. Like I was thinking, like,
no,
he could have came down and like split his shin, maybe like broke it and it popped out of his skin. And nobody wants to see that shit, man. And he's a young kid. Like that spot was just there for you to, potentially get hurt. Like there was no other payoff for it, So that was, to me, that was ridiculous. I think personally, I would have had a couple more guys in the match, just to make it a little more big time. Because 9 people, I know you have to do more spots for other people and shit, and it'll be a longer match. But I was like, That's why I was kind of like, I don't really see anybody from this group, winning the shit, So, but yeah, it was a fun match. It was a great opener, for when you got the pay-per-view. to watch that match first. You get a lot of action, a lot of excitement, a lot of adrenaline, and you have the crowd there. So that match to start the pay-per-view off, gave you it was like a roller coaster. It was going up, so that was a good sign.
Yep. Why don't we go to Dave, because I'm sure the Painmaker's got his clock ready.
Yeah, I thought Brian Cage was an absolute phenomenon in his debut match. I thought that it was fantastic for Brian Cage. It was insane. It was cool, and I like it. And I think that's the fact that's an annual thing, and you're going to give in a lot more opportunity for people to step up like that. Every Double or Nothing was cool. So I thought I still prefer last year's, honestly, because it was kind of the first, but it was good. It was a great way to open up. I agree with Jacob Barber. It was a great way to open up. So,
do we know? Okay, quick question. Do we know if this is going to be a yearly thing? Did they ever announce that?
I think it's gonna be. I think it will be.
Looking at the crowd reaction,
it'd be cool to do that.
I mean, last year they had the whole battle royal with the whole drawing the card, and then they did that with the women in All Out. I'm pretty sure probably every year, depending on how long AEW goes, they're going to have something different set up for wrestlers to get number one contender opportunities. It might not be a ladder match this time. Maybe if we get live crowds again, it could be another battle royal or a bit of elimination style matches. I think they're going to try to keep this fresh. And you know what? Brian Cage did surprise me. I generally thought it was just going to be an AEW guy just so they could troll the fans, or at least pull the rug under everybody else and go, oh, it's someone you haven't seen in Dynamite for a while. But when it was Brian Cage, I was pleasantly surprised, but I wasn't shocked. And I think it was also a smart choice having him win too. Because the moment he came out, they made him a monster. They had him they had him tear a ladder in half in his hands. They had him climb a ladder with Orange Cassidy on his back. They buried him under tables and poker chips. And then, him doing that F5000 tornado, that Zanke style finisher you've seen in Street Fighter. And then, with Darby Allin. And Jacob, I do agree. There is going to be a match between him and Darby Allin. It may be dominant, or it's gonna be like his match against. It's gonna be like Darby's match against Cody. This might go to a draw depending on how much punishment Darby takes in there. And the opinions of the Darby Allin spot was already given. That wasn't incredibly scary, but Orange Cassidy and Joey Janela were kind of my favorites in this match because they just went buck wild. Of course, Cassidy with the comedy, and then Joey Janela doing what he does best.
I absolutely fucking loved Orange Cassidy. He spent 2 minutes literally in the ring, and I loved it. He just kind of trolled out there, and he looked up, he tried to reach, he stood the ladder straight up and fell over. Orange Cassidy's great. I want to talk about something I heard afterward. I watched the post-match scrums or whatever the fuck they want to call it. Where like Tony Khan and the people come and talk to the press. Tony Khan said that they actually signed Brian Cage back in January. And because he was he was rehabbing an injury, they still paid him. So that's fucking cool as hell. The fact that he went, you know what, we're gonna sign you, you rehab, and we'll bring you in when you're ready to go and it works. So got to give props to that because Vince McMahon wouldn't have done that. Vince McMahon would have went, fuck you.
Yep.
He would have waited until you were healed and then could put you on pay.
All right. So anything else we really want to talk about? I want to see real quick. I want to see something with Joey Janela and Jimmy Havoc. I want to see them just go just fucking bananas. Let them. Because, it doesn't have to be, light tubes and barbed wire.
Yeah.
But I want to see him go ape shit.
I think we technically kind of
got. I want to see Brian Cage and Lance Arthur.
No. Right now, I think Brian Cage and Luchasaurus is good. I've said this on a previous stream.
I like that.
He needs that big feud right now. He's been doing these mini little feuds, and are not, like these mini matches, but now with Brian Cage, he's got somebody to actually give him that full 10, 15-minute kind of match so we can see what Luchasaurus is capable of like he was in Lucha Underground. And the fact that Brian Cage, who also had a short stint in Lucha Underground, we could see something of these two putting on instant classics like they did when they were back at that promotion. And with Brian Cage now officially here, I can't wait after Fyter Fest to see where he goes forward. I would love a Luchasaurus and Brian Cage match at All Out. Just two big hosses doing big moves.
Yeah, I don't think
I kind of want to see Brian Cage and Lance Archer though. I think that'd be a hell of a match.
I think that can happen eventually too. I don't think he's gonna take the title from Mox though. Spoiler.
No, hell no.
All right. All right, let's jump into the next one, guys. MJF with Wardlow and Jungle Boy. This was a match. Like this proved, people say they don't really think, MJF, he's only really wrestled like hardcore a couple of times. This match between the two of them was beautiful.
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick.
I like. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it was a good match. MJF hasn't had a lot of matches in AEW. He's been doing a lot of talking, which, I ain't gonna complain about that. Never will. He's a great talker. Wardlow actually wasn't around in the match. He came out in the beginning and then left. So I thought that was kind of unique. I was like, because I could have sworn Wardlow, me being a fan, I thought Wardlow interfered. That's how he get the win. But yeah, this was a banger, bro. This was a banger of a match. Two young guys who haven't got national TV time a lot, haven't got pay-per-views a lot, to showcase what they have together in a match. And this was a hell of a match, man. And I like the pinning combination. I like the pin concept, with him holding the hands. But it looked unique. I thought it looked really good. And yeah, it was a good match.
You asked me first.
I definitely agree.
Huh?
I was amazed with MJF and Jungle Boy.
Yeah, you can cook them. I just want you to
Chris,
ask.
Thank you, Chris.
You did.
I was agreeing with you, Hayden.
Sorry.
This was something I have not seen out of MJF in a while. I remember I've only seen snippets of that in some of his when he was ever on MLW or whenever he did some indie promotion wrestling style matches. So when he was on AEW, never got to see the potential he had there. So this was amazing. I said a while back to a friend of mine that we were kind of fancy booking who would take the title from Mox. I thought MJF would be one of those guys. This match proved MJF down the road or maybe next year, he could have a belt on his shoulders.
Yeah. I think he could
take
it's
a great match.
Title, but we'll get there. JB3, what did you think, homie?
Yeah.
I thought it was great, and a lot of people were really pushing the fact that this is going to be a feud that is going to main event like AEW 2 or 3 years from now. It's going to be the main event feud. It's going to be Jungle Boy and MJF going for the world title. They think they're going to be the future of the company, and it's really, really fitting that they placed the match where they placed it on the card, because who in their right mind goes after the Casino Battle Royal, a ladder match, and puts on a clinic like that? MJF does. MJF, not only can he talk, like the villain said, obviously, we know he can talk, but people would criticize maybe he's not good in the ring, but goodness gracious, he's good in the ring, and he just proved it. And he is going to be the manifestation of all the old greats: Roddy Piper, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat. I mean, that pinning combination. I mean, I remember WrestleMania 3, the roll up. The Steamboat Savage. You got MJF now doing that roll up. Like, the game has evolved so much, and to see these two put on that type of a match, and it's a classic babyface versus nasty heel. Oh my gosh, I would love to see this last for years.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All righty.
I mean,
Chris, you have something to say because you need a chance yet.
Yeah, and I apologize. I thought my microphone was off and it wasn't. Honestly, though, I think, the fact that MGF, I hate his character so much, and the fact that he talks so much trash is what's so incredible about this match is the way that they both like connected. It's something, and I hate that kind of, characters in wrestling I've always had. My grandfather always told me that's part of just what it is. And he was always one who was. So it's like, I think that there is, and I think you would have loved MGF. Um, I just think that it worked so well in this match, and it was terrific. But it wasn't my favorite match of the night. But it was a terrific match, and I think that I've given a lot more respect to MGF, especially after this match.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those knockdown dragouts. All right, now let's get into some gold, gentlemen. We have the AEW TNT Championship. Cody defeated Lance Archer with Jake Roberts and Mike Tyson sitting ringside. I don't really know how I feel about this match. Because
in what way?
Well, I think
it was the best match of the night.
Well, let me get there. I don't think Mike Tyson needed to be involved at all. It kind of pulled me away from the match because it just I didn't even give a shit about Jake the Snake or Arn Anderson getting thrown out. I think the fact that Jake the Snake got completely booted from ringside, Lance Archer looked lost, and it didn't feel right.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from. I think with Cody, ever since the last year's Double or Nothing, every time he has himself in a match, he all went with Double or Nothing, with All Out, with Full Gear and Revolution. He makes these feel like big matches. So he always likes to do the fanfare, and also he's a fan of the classic wrestling style. That he would watch it growing up with with his father and with his brother. So I get you, Mike Tyson. He was distracting at times. The moment after I saw that yawn, I'm going, oh, he doesn't give a shit. So I stopped paying attention. And that was a weakness there with Lance Archer. The fact that Jake the Snake's gone, he turns into like a caveman all of a sudden. Like he doesn't know what he's doing. Like he's just there to punish somebody. And a part of me feels that was a problem with some of the booking. That I like the fact Lance Archer just murders somebody when he walks out to the ring. But it was clear whenever Jake's there, you see Lance as this unstoppable monster. When Jake is not there, you see weakness in Lance Archer. And I thought, okay, but it was distracting, especially the way that Jake was thrown out. I mean, that felt completely off. It didn't feel natural.
Yeah.
I think the right guy won with Cody. It was just, there was like the last third of this match, it started falling apart. It started chipping away, though. It was still a great match, but it started to chip away.
Okay. JB3?
Yeah, I didn't hate the match. The match was fine. What bothered me was the build-up. You had too many different variables trying to lead into one big moment, and they didn't, conclude everything that they started. So you have the tournament, and obviously everyone pretty much knew Cody and Lance was going to go because they knew they were going to feud. So, like, for instance, if they didn't feud, if there was no Jake the Snake, no Arn, they didn't even touch each other. He never attacked all of his people. None of that ever happened, and they just met in the tournaments and had that match that they had, it would have been fine. But the fact that they had this grudge, I mean, Jake the Snake did what he did to Brandy. Cody didn't even respond. And I touched on it in some of the episodes. Like, he didn't even care. He didn't even cut a promo on him. And then when he barely went after Jake, and then he ended up fighting Lance. And then even in this match, like, they could have had one moment in the match where he knocked Jake out or something, but nothing. He did nothing. This dude put a snake in between her legs and on her face and humped her.
He straight up air humped her.
That's his wife. Like, and he didn't do anything. So what I got from the story, if it was all, kayfabe, I'm not, I'm just straight up looking at the story. Cody don't give a shit about his wife. And he cares more about that TNT championship.
Hey, you're not wrong.
I don't really know. That was the disconnect.
I hope they built that.
I think that's a good angle though, because after the whole thing with Dustin and Archer, maybe we're saying that Cody does not care about his loved ones and he'll use whatever means necessary, or he'll ignore everybody when it comes to that championship. And that take that you just gave regarding with the whole idea, this is one of the weaker babyface angles I've seen with Cody since with Jericho and MJF. So, I mean, those are definitely all good valid points. I mean, yeah, it is going to hurt Cody. That did hurt Cody down the road, but on rewatch, that was kind of hard to ignore.
Yeah. Haven, what you got, homie?
First of all, the belt was ugly as shit. I understand that's not the final product, and I understand, times and shit. But to not show anything about it and then to bring it out, it looked like trash. So, Mike Tyson bring it out, just holding it. And then, they did have both of the managers. I just thought this match was overbooked. And I understand it's a pay-per-view and you got to do twists and turns. But, I agree. Like, Cody should have been in the first half of the match. He should have been going after Jake, screaming at him, you touched my wife. None of that happened. It was, Lance Archer had to dominate, and he's big as fuck. So, and Cody was trying to get it. It was just a lot of stuff in this match. And then at the end of the day, it was like, this match and another match we're going to talk about later. You bring two new guys in, you have them like monsters because they're big as shit, and then they both lose, and you're just like, oh, okay, like I really didn't care about Lance Archer before this match, and I don't care about him after the match. So. I'm happy for Cody. Once they fix the belt, I can't wait for him to wrestle other people. Lance Archer, he could fucking wrestle on dark for all I care.
Yeah. I mean, this is what it's supposed to look like.
Is it really?
That's what it.
Because if it is, I'm not too thrilled about it.
I saw a few someone on Instagram to give 8 different mock-up designs. One mock-up design was to have the TNT like outlined with a white coloring, or at least have the TNT white with a black outline coloring, and it would be more closer to the championship sash. That one looked much better than just having the TNT label in the middle.
Or even some diamonds.
Relief. So the TNT is going to have relief, whatever that is. It's on the video games. It's going to have something shiny on the TNT. Rumors.
All right. Yeah. This match I didn't really care about either, with Chris Statlander and Penelope Ford. It was kind of one of those, we're going to throw it here because Britt Baker's hurt, so we can't give her her push. It was okay. It was a match.
It was a match.
I didn't get to say about Cody.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you did. I apologize.
Oh, it's all good. So there's something that I think I really loved. That was last year when the promos for Jericho and Cody at was it Full Gear? Yeah, Full Gear.
Full Gear.
Was honestly Full Gear. That might have been the best promos I've seen in a very long time. And even the package itself made it even better. I loved every single promo that they did on that. I thought that what Cody was going for a championship, his mom even saying that was the best promo I think I've seen in wrestling in a long time. And I loved the match. I kind of take back what I said. I don't think it was the match of the night. It was a great match. I kind of agree with JB3. I hope they kind of go with that with Jake the Snake. I really do, because I think if they don't, they kind of put themselves in a plot problem. Because any husband whose wife's got a snake, or like you literally humping over her, I mean, if it was me, I'd kick the shit out of him. Like, that's just, you don't do that. That's disrespectful. And the worst idea, that's what Jake the Snake, I mean, he is disrespectful. But the fact that Cody didn't react to that, I agree with JB3. I didn't think about it like that. Like that to me, that was a big problem when the writing. The match itself was great. I thought the match was great. I thought, Mike Tyson obviously being there was kind of, but it was a great match. I take that back saying it wasn't the best match of the night, but it was a great match. I just wish they handled the Cody promo better, because after what I saw at Full Gear, I was kind of disappointed. But sorry about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Has everyone spoke on that match?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have a theory.
Ooh.
It's a running theory. I've discussed it before, but it just hit me.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, it's with Cody. Now I talked about before where I thought he was going to turn heel, and I think there's more evidence. So when he faced Jericho at Full Gear, stipulation, I'll never fight for the world title. Lost. All of a sudden, it's like two variables there. One, he made a mistake with the stipulation. Two, he trusted someone that he loved. So with those two mistakes, he's obsessed over the title, and two, he doesn't trust his loved ones. And maybe that's the reason that he is shunning Brandy and Dustin and even QT maybe. Like, maybe that's the reason. It's because he's all these things that happened to him because of that stipulation. And I think it's eating at him. And I think that may watch for these matches that they have. Spoiler with the TNT Championship matches. Pay attention to those matches and watch any heel tactics that he does.
There's a lot of them.
So I think there will be more, and they will gradually build over time.
I like that take, and that is a good long form set. That is a good setup, and the payoff is definitely. I think that payoff. Hopefully, I think that payoff is going to happen maybe probably at one of the big events like All Out or Full Gear, or it's going to happen at a Dynamite episode. I think Cody wants to do this little thing with a full crowd there because I think he's willing to wait. He's going to play the face, play the fighting champion. When that moment comes to pull that thread, he's going to pull it with a live crowd.
Yeah. I'd like to see Cody turn just full-blown nasty heel. That would be interesting. All right.
I think it'd be terrific. I think it would be the right way to go.
Okay. Chris Statlander, Penelope Ford. It was a match. I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was just.
It was shit.
I can forgive it.
Nah, I wouldn't say it was shit. But
no,
yeah, it's tough that you got to substitute for somebody that's injured. At the last minute at a pay-per-view, storyline changed, the finish changed, and it was what it was. But yeah, it shouldn't have. It wasn't a pay-per-view quality match, but
it was a match.
It is what it is. Yeah.
I can forgive it. I mean,
it felt kind of sloppy too, and I wish it could have been better.
I forgive it because of the rush, and it was a bit sloppy. You can see that Penelope Ford and Statlander, they didn't have great chemistry. There was some miscalled, some not executed moves. So it says a lot towards. They did the best out of a situation, kind of like they did with Joe Janelle taking over Ray Phoenix. But the difference was, Ford and Statlander didn't have 6 other competitors to make them, to hide their mistakes. So it was pretty obvious, but. Yeah, it was a match. I'm okay with it. I can move forward.
Yeah. Anybody else really have anything about this?
I just think it should have been before the TNT Championship match.
I could agree with that. Especially
that was weird too.
I 100% agree.
Especially with what was next, I think it would have fit better. Basically, Dustin Rhodes stripping Shawn Spears. I don't really know what to say to this. Like it would have fit better if it hadn't, had been where it was, just to kind of, let everything kind of take a deep breath, because then you've got 3 powerhouse matches. So I think if they had moved,
I think that was okay because we needed an icebreaker after that TNT match.
And that's what I'm saying. If they had moved Penelope before it, Chris Statlander and Penelope before it, had the TNT match, then had this, it would have flowed better, personally.
What did they say was Britt Baker's injury, by the way?
She's basically got a broken kneecap, basically. Or broken femur. She'll be out for about
ACL.
2 months. No, she'll be out for 2 months.
That's not that worse. I mean, it's bad, but yeah.
Yeah,
which we'll get back to that. We'll get back to Britt here in a little bit.
But Spears and Rhodes though, that match, I mean, it felt sort of unnecessary, but it was mainly just a character match. Honestly, it was just there for Shawn Spears to look silly and make Dustin look good.
But I disagree right there, Ryan. It wasn't just there. You know, they had a build up. They switched it up. They did a 180 than what everybody expected. So that's why I thought this match was way better than I thought it was originally going to be. You know, this is one of the matches I lost on because I thought they were just going to have a straight wrestling match and Shawn Spears was going to win at the end. But they turned it into this comedy, fun spot, you know, funny moments in the match. And, you know, they had some nice wrestling in it. You know, Shawn Spears, he didn't look weak after this. I don't know why he thought that he came out with a suit, you know. So as soon as he came out, I was like, okay, they switched it up on me. I think it should be enjoyable. And it was an enjoyable match.
I think that Rhodes, at his age, he's like, what, 52, 53, I believe, almost 50? He's in his 50s.
Yep.
To even show that he still got that power of, like, wrestling, you know, that's impressive.
Yeah, I thought the match was fine. Dustin's great. You know, I'm pissed. I'm just pissed. It pisses me off that Shawn Spears is the guy that has to be the comedy relief. Like it was funny. It was funny.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna knock that.
He could go a long way, but they kind of make him to be the joke.
It makes me miss 10.
Yeah.
Like he was so over in NXT.
Yeah.
And it was just like so organic, and I remember that so much. And even when he first showed up in AEW in that battle royal, people just started chanting 10 when he showed up. And even with his first match,
he became the
chairman, like he was just coming in hard, and now he's just losing and losing. Even the promo with talking about you didn't do whatever for Dustin. You didn't care about your own brother, your own friends. And then he gets demolished by Dustin. Like booking wise, it pisses me off because I love Shawn Spears and I think he's great. But entertainment wise, I mean, he's great. So he was entertaining, and so was Dustin. Dustin's, like you said, Chris, he's like freaking 50 something, and he can go with the young guys.
He's something in there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, Sorry, go ahead.
I like the fact though that this may kind of continue this feud, and we may get, you know, some more of those fire promos like Shawn did the week before. Like I love that whole Sports Center kind of, you know, kayfabe news style promo he cut. So we may see this continue, especially the fact that I think it's going to continue because it just the way it went down. I think that Shawn Spears is going to come back and go, you know what, you think you can wrestle, and they'll continue it, or he'll step up and be Cody's next, you know, major feud. I think Jungle Boy.
I think he's gonna be the one to take that TNT championship from Cody. I think he is. I mean, I could be proven wrong depending on how the booking might go, but that little thing but after what JV3 said with you know him talking shit to Cody about how he didn't care about Dustin, and how this whole Shawn Spears news network thing he set up is giving him a new character outlook, and the fact he gets humiliated. I think I do think there's going to be a longer feud, and I think it might lead to Spears taking the belt from Cody.
He's over need for a push, in my opinion. I think Spears has been needing a push for a while.
It's not the fact of a push; it's just the story. He needed the right storyline. I like the storyline and how he was trying to hunt for a tag partner, but then, of course, with the whole COVID situation, that had to drop. I think this is a new storyline he could use that could also reinvigorate that feud he had with Cody last year from Fyter Fest to All Out.
It could be a way to take time till Tully Blanchard comes back too, because he's getting up there in age. So, all right, gents, let's get back into the gold and kind of the three main events. They said two. I call bullshit. We had the champion Nyla Rose taking on Hikaru Shida. And gentlemen, that picture I dropped in our private chat, holy shit! I knew she was fine, but damn,
Oh,
Yeah, I've seen that the day before. I seen that picture the day before on one of the wrestling groups on Facebook. But yeah, she's a very beautiful woman. You know, they all are. Like I haven't seen, you know, realistically, I don't think I've ever seen a ugly wrestling woman. You know, unless you're talking about like back in the day and shit, like when they're in the 50s. But nah, man, like I don't hate on. I'm not never gonna hate on a chick by her looks if she's a wrestler. That's not one thing I'm gonna do.
Villain, you ain't wrong. Even Luna Vachon's body was like banging.
And her face too, that tattoo, I was like, man, she's gonna choke me. I'm like, damn, like when I have fantasies.
Damn, I can't believe you went there. No, this match was banging. This was like 1,000 times better than I expected. And Hikaru Shida can take a bump like a champ. Like that spot where she basically gets chokeslammed into the poker table and just lands there flat. Like
it was nice.
Like she took that like a champ. And like they both had welts from that kendo stick by the end of the match, and her snapping it across her face was Nyla Rose's face was just, and she's got a shining wizard like a boss. She gives that shining wizard just
great Muda style.
Yeah, great Muda.
Just
all right. I'm gonna jump in first because this match to me this was my favorite of the night. You know, this is my favorite of this. Yo, like the only thing, like this pay-per-view does a lot of hardcore matches. You know, a lot of matches was just hardcore to be hardcore. But this one, man, they went everywhere. You know, and they were going at it. You know, the David and the Goliath style. You know, I don't even miss Justin Roberts right now because the way Dasha says, you know, Hikaru, that shit. I'm always like, that shit gives me hype. As soon as she comes out, she had a different outfit on, and some sites were showing it. I think it's from a video game character. She came out with a different fit. You know, so I'm like, oh shit, and then and Nyla Rose does it, man. Like, you know, and that's a big ups to her. You know, before the tragic accident, you know, but she's a really good wrestler. Like she takes care of her opponents. You know, for being her size, she takes care of her opponents all day. So, man, this match was a burner, man. I was like, holy shit, they did so much crazy shit outside. You know, I can't go move for move because there's 3 other guys that want to talk about this. But, man, this match was good. And, you know, I was surprised that she won. I kind of had a feeling, you know, but I was like, you know what? But the way they use the Japanese talent, this is the second Japanese champion for the women's division. And once all this is said and done, they could start bringing all the international players back because all those the dudes from China, the company that they work with, the Lionhearts, like they haven't been on TV for like 2 months. So I'm like, man, I can't wait to see all this shit just start popping off with the people they have. But this match, yeah, man, this match was fucking off the chain.
This is Japanese strong style at its best. Like, go ahead, gents.
Hey, I'm saying though, like, look, I know you can't really get into hindsight like I'm about to right now. Like, I really wish that Nia would have just won the belt in the beginning and held it this whole time, and then Shida would have had this big moment. But that match was fire. Like everything that you said, like the spots outside the ring, inside the ring, the shining wizard, the bumps, like this is just like you said, it's wrestling. It's what we want.
It really is.
I really wish Nyla would. As good as the match was, I will say, I think Nyla should have won, only because of the way that they booked her, and she only just won, and then all of a sudden, now Nyla's not the champion anymore. So, just because of that and the way she's been booked, I wish Nyla would have won, and then maybe held it for another year, dominate everyone, build it up to be this big, huge monster, and then someone, I don't know who, could be Shida still again, or anybody else can just, you know what I'm saying?
I do like that. I do appreciate that as well, and I got into an argument with a buddy of mine regarding this match as well. I thought Nyla was going to win, but I was personally going for Shida because I think even though she could have, they could have booked her on a endless, like maybe 8-9 month reign of destruction, reign over the women's division. But I think at the time when Nyla was starting, she was still showing some signs that she was still a little green in the ring, or at least whenever the announcers would do her story, they would paint her as someone who was too overconfident in her size and power, which led her to so many rookie mistakes, like she did against Riho, losing that opportunity at the championship, or how somebody, like, even when she had that small feud for AEW Dark, I forget the wrestler's name, Shauna, there was moments to where she was showing rookie mistakes as well, underestimating her opponents. I thought some of that was playing out well here in her match against Shida. While she did not take Shida, while she took Shida seriously, every time she was doing a dominating move on her, like throwing her over that table. I loved it when she went to the camera and said, "Always bet on black." That was like her showing that arrogance, that overconfidence in her to where she thought she was going to win, to when Shida would always get the upper hand on her. And this was a great showing for Nyla. There was a lot of give and take in this match as well. Shida didn't look like she was always going to come out on top, and Nyla didn't always look as dominant. While with Shida, she's actually one of the few Japanese Joshi wrestlers who moved to the U.S. and has settled here. She has a citizenship here. So I think with her being on TV, she's going to have more appearances on TV to where when we see Nyla come back, Nyla's going to be just as dangerous. She's going to be just as bloodthirsty as ever. And possibly, I don't know who Shida's next opponents are going to be at Fyter Fest or by the time Britt hopefully comes back. But I think I would like to see sort of a Sasha and Charlotte rivalry with Nyla and Shida, where those two are going to hot potato that belt because they just want it that badly.
See, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that her next major opponent's going to be Britt, and I'd like to see that back and forth with Britt Baker.
No, you guys are both wrong. Well, not exactly wrong. I shouldn't say that. You guys' opinions are your opinions. But, I see Nyla being the first two-time women's champion. I don't see Hikaru Shida holding the belt for 9 months. It's a new company. You got a lot of talent there, and that's why I wish they had more titles. But that's for another discussion. If we talk about that, we'll be here another hour. But it's just because like right now the champions are the champions, and there's so many other talent that you want to see get a belt and rock and roll. But I think she's not going to have it for 9 months. It's somebody else is going to win it. She'll probably have a 3-month run. Yeah, that's all. Go ahead, guys.
Subrat, to answer your question, no. It is not a sin. Because, God, Subrat, I'll send you some pictures. I'll send you some pictures.
Well, you have a wife, so I don't know why you have a crush on somebody else.
Don't let your wife see it, though, homie. Those are not safe for family. Those are NSFW.
Keep going. You were going more on not.
What's up?
I was saying that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, me? I just said he's asking for a friend.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Before we address that, I was gonna say, like, having continue. Like you were on something before we saw that little banner.
Yeah.
No, it's just it's a new company, and we want people to be champions, and we want people to have a long, meaningful reign. But long, meaningful reigns is pretty much over. I mean, WWE gets away with it. New Japan is good, to do it, but they still give New Japan is still has like 3 people, maybe 4 a year win the heavyweight title. So it's not like people having year-long reigns. So when it comes to AEW, like I still give them a pass. They've only been there for a year, and it's like I'm not that cynical. So the pay-per-view has some mistakes, the booking, everything, but it's like they got a lot of talent, and right now they put on a good product with half the talent, not even have a quarter of the talent, still bringing people in, and it's just that everybody's got to get shine. So I think title reigns, ain't gonna be like too long. Jericho probably is gonna have the longest one for a little while. Maybe Moxley. I don't see him dropping the title next month. So, but other than that, it's gonna be people are gonna get their shine. And there's always you always gotta wait for the unexpected. Like, yeah, you want this person to win the title right now, but then holy shit, this person come out and start fucking lighting the crowd, and now they gotta get a title match and be in the title picture. So shit changes. But I think everybody there is happy, and they're gonna make up for the stuff that we're kind of like, don't like that, but they know about that shit, But I don't want to keep talking. Go ahead, brother.
I kind of like to see Big Swole get hers because
That's another one.
She's a fucking beast. She's good on the mic. She's got legit like stuff. She's good in the ring. She's got all that. I really think she could go heel. Like right now, she's kind of babyface, but she's kind of a tweener. She's pulled some shady shit, but so have her go with Sheeta. That could be a fucking barn burner right there. So all right, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't disagree. I would like to see Big Swole go up against her. Right now with Sheeta, there's a potential for some, having Sheeta go up against some of the women that's already there, other than Britt. Hopefully, when she comes back, she's fine. We can see her and Swole go up against each other. When some of the women are still there, like Statlander and Ford, maybe Sheeta can get a match out of Ford like she did with Nyla. It's unknown right now, but I agreed with you.
Yeah. All right, gents. Let's move into the quote-unquote co-main event. We had John. I ain't even gonna try no Justin Roberts tonight. John Moxley and Mr. Brody Lee. This match was just the way good old JR would say it, was a damn slobber knocker. These men beat the shit out of each other.
Oh yeah, there was a real chitin rattler there. Let me tell you, like seriously, is exactly the kind of match I would want from those two individuals. Like smash mouth, brawl, and then to top it all off, they built up Brody Lee to be an absolute destructive monster in 3 simple ways. Number one, when they went through the stage, holy crap. He came up with the blood.
And he came up like Godzilla, man. He just slowly rose from the ashes.
That was number one. Number two, paradigm shift, kick out at 1. What? Super paradigm shift, kick out at 2. Huh? This dude had to choke him out. That it was one of the most realistic endings because he knew, like after that, he's like, what can I do? He had to just grit it. And that's the only way it can make sense that he would actually have won the match. So to me, this was probably not the best. One of my favorites. I had a lot of favorites, but this is it was a fun match.
Yeah.
If we had to rank these matches, to be honest, I'd be going back and forth on Moxley. I would be going back and forth with Moxley and Brody Lee for the top 3, honestly, because this match, while it was a bit quick though, but at the same time, they didn't try to drag this whole thing out. These men were just there to beat the hell out of each other. And even on rewatch, I still like seeing little moments there. Like they're using those little paper cutouts of the sets of those little poker chips of double or nothing signs. Brody Lee always having an answer for Moxley's attacks. That double drop kick though. The fact that Brody Lee was able to get a couple extra inches to counter Moxley's drop kick, I liked the camera angle on that. Fantastic. And Brody Lee just having that constant dead stare in his eyes throughout the entire match, as if Moxley was just like a little thing under his thumb that he just had to push down in order to, beat. And Moxley just every time gets back up, doesn't give an F, and starts fighting back again. I can go back and forth on this for a top 3 match.
This match and another match I had a problem with, and it's both male title matches. You have this big monster that comes in, wrecks everything, and then they lose. Both guys lost differently, but this was one of the shortest matches on the card. This is your heavyweight title. And this match, it had a lot of crash and burns, but no shit's pouring out here. But that Taz and a Bam Bam Bigelow like move where they crashed through the outside. Yeah, that shit was fresh. Him kicking out and stuff. It's just, I don't know. It just threw me off. How short it was. A lot of outside stuff. And then the guy loses. It's like, you can't just be like, oh, I want another title match. It's like, no, dog, you submitted, bro. He put you to sleep. Like, this is that. It's like, you can't really come back from that. Like, yeah, you had your boys, jump this guy again, So it's like, like, I didn't get it. And for some reason, it's like Moxley, like, this match was good. It was a good match. It was quick though. And the storyline kind of didn't add up at the end because you don't know where these two guys are going to go after that. But, man, for me personally, it's like, I don't understand why Moxley ain't doing the same moves he was doing in Japan. All he has to do is not cuss, on the camera, not say the F-bomb, because he can say shit and whatever else. And just, like, do those type of matches. Like, I don't understand why it's so hard. Like, he did that shit after WWE. And his matches in New Japan are way better than any matches he had on Dynamite. So that, to me, is, like, confusing.
I'll agree to that one with the matches, but I think the reason that they did this is because I think if Brody Lee took the pin, it just wouldn't look, he would lose something. At least this way he can go, if they decide to build this feud again later down the road, he can go, but you didn't officially pin me.
Man, wrestling, you always know if a motherfucker tap out, that shit's rap.
He didn't tap out though.
That's why people.
He didn't tap out though. The ref called it. I mean, come on now.
True.
You know how wrestling and shit goes. If this was MMA, he'd look at him and go, "I didn't tap. The ref called it." He could throw that shit at him, and that's what it is. One of the spots though that really just made me cringe is where Brody Lee suplex Moxley into that metal guardrail, and it just snapped in half. That snapping sound was just legit made me cringe. Like, there was some massive bumps, and these poker chips. Like, if I'm ever gonna compete at Double or Nothing, I want them poker chips taken off. Because if somebody gets near one of them poker chips, you're getting fucked up.
Well, damn, you're already making demands, diva.
It's true though.
Every time you're afraid to take a tough bump or something.
But you know what I'm saying though? Those poker chips fucking. I like the fact that when they gone outside, they use the elements to the matches.
Yeah. Real quick, I won't be long. I just have to agree with the villain. The one thing you brought up, if Mox wrestled like he did in Japan, it would be even better. Because holy moly, that dude wrestles in Japan like it's the best wrestling I've ever. Some of the best wrestling I've ever seen with Ishii. I mean, come on. But yeah, that's it. I just had to agree and just really shout that out. But yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
I think one of the reasons I agree too. If Mox wrestled that way in a couple of his matches, he would 100% be. I wouldn't say he would have a very long reign, but he would be a dominant champion. I just think the reason why he's not doing that was because I remember when it was supposed to be him and Omega at All Out, he ended up getting that MRSA infection on his elbow, which means he had to reduce the way he was, wrestling. And even in matches, he still has that tape over his elbow, though. So it's almost as if like that infection could come back, like if he does anything insane. I mean,
well, but he had those matches in Japan after he had the surgery, though.
Oh yeah, I forgot he had that rematch against Archer for the IWGP US title. Yeah, that's right.
So, but hear me out, gents. Maybe they're saving that Mox for Brian Cage. Because he's going to have to, because he ain't going to be able to pull the same shit he did with Brody Lee against Brian Cage, or he's dropping the strap. Period. So maybe they're waiting for this kind of savage New Japan Mox for this run.
They're going to need to do something on Dynamite to get that Mox out. Otherwise, it's going to feel like he did this out of nowhere.
All right. So are we all pretty much squared on what we talked about with that main event?
Yeah.
Just one last point. The one way that they'll save it, if they have a one-on-one normal match, then it's going to be tough. But if they have some type of a gimmick, then Moxley can find a way. Like if they have a death match, if they have a no holds barred match, some type of gimmick match, then Moxley could go over. But it'd be really difficult to be believable if it's one-on-one.
Which I think that they should, or have him run through Brian Cage, even if Brian Cage gets disqualified for doing something stupid or whatever, and then have him run with Lance Archer. Have, like I said last week, Lance Archer come and go, you know what? You took that IWGP US title from me. Well, I want that one. I want the AEW.
They can't really talk about other promotions and their titles. That's the only thing that sucks about wrestling.
Yeah. Well, they do it with AAA sometimes, so they might be able to work something out.
Yeah, they got a partnership with them though. That's when you have a partnership and you're the bigger company. Even though it's crazy because AAA's been around for a while, but you could have the title show up there. If you have a cool relationship, but
yeah, you never know. It's down the line. All right. This match coming up, the Stadium Stampede, the Inner Circle, and the Elite. Wow. I personally think this, as a cinematic match, might be my favorite one we've seen this year.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's because I really, really love the Boneyard and the Funhouse match, but fuck, guys, this
no. The Stadium Stampede proved that even though WWE was able to step it up with those matches, AEW still proved they can do it better. And it wasn't just the cinematic venture itself. The fact they made the whole thing feel like this big event. Not just they used the stadium to its full effects, with the cheerleaders, with the mascot there, giving them the football entrances with the pyro and the steam, having them come out of those corners, man. And even having the rest themselves do a little bit of football-ass gimmicks, like blowing the whistle to start the match, throwing flags on plays. And even then, when the match was playing, you still heard audio from the crowd that was at Daly's place. So that audio was intermixed to keep the energy of this match going. So none of it felt too silent as the Boneyard match was, or as the Funhouse match was. It was silent, but they had music playing. No, it was, you got the match, and then you got some responses from the crowd going. So it still felt, even though it was cinematic, it still had some elements of wrestling in there.
Oh yeah, I'll jump in right now. Yeah, this match, I'm gonna give it a pass to WWE for some of their matches that were cinematic because this match was different. This match had 10 players in it, 10 wrestlers in it. So I'm gonna compare this one to Money in the Bank because Boneyard was the separate thing. Hold on, let me rewind. So Boneyard was a separate thing. The Firefly Funhouse, whatever that match was called with John Cena. Yeah, that one. Exactly. That was different, and then this match. But this match was just amazing. And there's only, I'm going to talk about only two things because I know everybody else is going to talk about, there's so many things to highlight this match. But, when they gave everybody time, Ryan hit all the great notes about fans, about cheerleaders, about the refs. They did so much shit in this match. But the two highlights for me, my highlights were the Jeff Hardy and Proud and Powerful stuff. It was cool because they focused on that. That was the first time they kind of focused on a single thing, if I'm not mistaken, for a long time. We seen Sammy Guevara running down, and I called it right before the match started. I said, "Yo, Hangman's gonna come on a fucking horse." I was telling my boy that me and my boy were watching the pay-per-view, and then Hangman comes out on a horse. But they had great stuff in the ring, but my highlights was right when Jeff Hardy was with Proud and Powerful. Matt Hardy. That was my fault. When Matt Hardy, he threw him in the pool, and then, Ortiz was like, oh, and he was like, yo, man, the water's straight, man. It's only 3 feet. And then when they started bringing Matt down in the water, right? They brought him down in the water, and then he comes up. He's got a new outfit on. I don't understand how they did that. I was like, yo, okay. That really just took it to another level to where I'm like, yo, this match was amazing. And then when he went down again, I think he was smiling in the camera, and then they had the Matt Hardy facts, and then he comes up, and they bring him down, and this motherfucker is cheesing in the camera, and he's throwing like his gang sign, not the gang sign, but he's throwing him shit stuff, and he's just smiling, and it's just like, yo, and to think about it, like, you know, because to me, that's why this match was so great, because like you got a veteran like Matt Hardy with two new guys that, like people seen them, you know, in TNA and shit. But, you know, people still had doubts. But to have this spot with two new guys and a veteran like Matt Hardy, and then for that to be so fun, and then all the antics after that, that's why the match, that really hit it to me. And then the next thing that really amazed me was Hangman Page. When he was sitting at the bar, and then you had Jake come out, right? And he's sitting next to him. But when they started brawling, and Jake threw him to the ring, threw him to the bar. This motherfucker in cowboy boots jumped on the bar and then made a back flip. And then after that, he rolled on the pool table while this guy swung at him. And I was like, yo, this shit look like Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, like that whole second of Hangman Page, I'm like, yo, Hangman is the shit. Like, this dude is real. Like, that just solidified him for me. And I'm like, man, that just blew me away. Like, I couldn't explain it. I don't know how they did it, but these guys are so athletic that they took advantage of everything. And just those two highlights to me were like, oh my God. And we had thousands of highlights in these matches, but those two stuck out to me. But this match was amazing. You know, 6 stars.
I want to point out something that you just said. And then all of a sudden, Jake Hager puts his ass on the bar like a cowboy movie and fucking slides his ass across. Like, yeah, that whole thing. And then Kenny Omega shows up, and then they have a shot. You know, they take a shot. I have to agree. Like, yeah. And going back to the pool spot, I like how one of the commentators was like, "Oh, this must be water from the Lake of Reincarnation," and people that don't really follow Broken Matt Hardy can kind of learn, what they're doing. Yeah, that bell spot cracked me up, though. I'm gonna go next. That bell spot when he hit him with the bell and duct taped Ortiz to the fucking chair. You need some time out. You need some time to yourself. So here, take this, and then punches him and says, "Take one of these and call me in the morning." And then puts Santana in the ice box and goes, "This is for inflammation." Shit was funny. Yeah.
Man, look, there's two things I want to touch on too. I want to add to what you said about the shot and the milk and the whiskey. I love how, like, with the buckshot lariat off of his back, like, this match really told a story of how Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, they have truly grown as not only a tag team, but in their friendship. And then you'll see when we talk later in Dynamite, how that evolves. And that's such a really cool thing to me. Like, their friendship and their partnership is just getting so, like, close and tight. The other thing is, I can't believe, man, Jericho, he hit some type of move, and he pinned somebody. I can't even remember who it was. And they kicked out. And
I think it was, wasn't it Kenny?
He threw a red flag and challenged the play. They went into the booth. And she was like, man, Aubrey was great. She was like, we'll look at the replay. And then he was like, it was great. And she was like, you're not even supposed to be in here.
I want to give a major shout out to Aubrey Edwards and even the bald-headed ref in this, because Rick Knox, thank you. Like that, would he fucking throw a flag on Matt Jackson for excessive celebration? Fucking super kick, like shit. Yeah, this match took everything that's great about football that we miss about football and wrestling and made it one. Like it.
Oh yeah, Jericho. Look, I will say one thing about the pull spot. When those Mad Facts came up, I loved how Ortiz and Santana acknowledged them. They were like, what the hell is that? And then you get Matt Hardy V1 coming up. I marked like crazy for that spot. And oh my God. Sammy Guevara, even though we see a lot of him on TV, he is 100% a star. 100%. This guy can take 5 losses. He can take a 6-loss losing streak, and he'll still be over as shit. Because the way, not only because of how he sells, but how he carries himself with his attitude and his confidence with his character. I loved how, oh my God, and Matt Jackson in the Bucks. I mean, Matt and Nick. Matt doing that backflip off of the goalpost. That was a complete subversion. I thought it was going to be Nick who did that. And then Matt.
I did call that. Yo, I did call that.
You did, yeah. I thought it was going to be Nick, but the fact it was Matt, that was good. And then, of course, the 100-yard Northern Lights suplex to the excessive dancing. It was just beautiful. It was a great setup, payoff, and then a little more extra. And then, oh, yeah, Nick pegging Jericho with footballs. And then the commentary
shot to the nuts. Perfect circle. He took a nasty shot to the nuts.
Ooh, yeah. And one more thing. Another highlight I loved. They not only did Sammy run twice, like outran a horse, they brought back the golf cart, and then he ended up doing an 70-yard sprint all the way down to the end zone, climbs up top of a wall. Yeah. As what is it? Sammy Guevara is a star.
Like, yeah, this kid
finish it off. What happened next?
Oh, what happened next? Oh my God, we got the reincarnation of Vanguard 1 and Neo 1, nature's electronic organism.
That okay. I'm gonna touch on this. That final spot was straight out of DDT. Like, if you go back and watch your crazy backyard brawls, this shit is bananas. And I like the fact that Sammy took the pin, honestly, because it doesn't do a whole lot for him that he lost. But there's one major thing before we get there that we all forgot, was that the Jacksonville Jaguars mascot took that Judas effect like a boss. or like Jericho getting punted into the kicker's workout thing. Like,
that was fantastic. And I love the Juice effect. Jericho didn't have to do a whole back. Like, you could see his arm go halfway in, and then this was Batman punching Clayface. His elbow got stuck for a couple seconds, and then he pulled it right back out.
Yeah, this match was. I've gone back and watched it a few times, and I just keep finding shit that I didn't see the first time, or the second, or the third. Like the other cinematic matches lately, I've gone back and watched, but I wasn't as entertained as this one. This one, it had comedy, it had action. That 10-foot one-winged angel was just.
That's the thing of beauty, honestly. That was just beautiful.
We thought he was going to put him right through that little stage part, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like the way they had the camera, he just
jumped
off a freaking building. I was like, whoa!
I don't give a fuck. He landed into a crash pad. That still looked nasty, and it sounded like
it was perfectly executed.
And it was a great way to end the match. And you could kind of even see, at the end, where the Bucks are trying to make up with Hangman, and Hangman's still kind of So I like that
friendship with Kenny, though, that he was still there with them for the celebratory shot, though.
Yeah. And then the night. Okay, let's just jump into Dynamite real quick. And then the shot the next night where they're just kicked back drinking. Kenny's still got whiskey, or Kenny's got milk, and Hangman's got whiskey.
Oh, I love that. I do love that.
I love that opening where the Bucks keep looking at Matt and go, "No, we need somebody else." And then Matt would disappear and come back as another character. And they have different music, which is even funnier.
That is true. Yeah, Matt is doing a lot. He's really having fun with doing more characters now. I still like Damascus. I like whenever he brings back Team Extreme Matt Hardy. But with this new version of Matt that we have where he's coming in butt gear and has different music, I want to see that for a while until Fyter Fest. And then he comes with another one.
Hey, guys. So, speaking of Dynamite, I actually got to go. It's getting late. I got plans. But check this out. I'm going to give you guys one of the coolest segues which I know what you guys are getting into. The Young Bucks had the match. They did the super kick spot with Butcher and the Blade. The Butcher and the Blade whooped their asses at the end of the match. And then I'm just going to lead you with this segue as I leave.
To that. Oh!
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I have been sitting on that this whole time, guys. I really have. So real quick, JB3, yes, no on FTR.
No flip, just fists. I'm ready to see. I'm ready to see them there. They're one of the greatest tag teams in the entire planet. So it's time.
And Dynamite was kind of a lot of squash matches, so it kind of didn't really do a whole lot. But this is the major thing I want to hit. So I agree.
I'm sorry, I will leave it with this. One day, the Young Bucks and the Revival are going to wrestle each other, and the whole world will remember this tweet.
Oh,
yeah. By that, I love you guys, and I will see y'all later.
Peace out, brother.
So yeah, this was kind of, I said this in our chat. This was kind of the worst kept secret in wrestling. But talk about long-term booking. They started the Bucks and even the Elite when they were Bullet Club were fucking calling out the Revival.
Yeah, Cody's constant fuck the Revival. It was fantastic. I will keep going.
I want to see them have a feud with Butcher and the Blade first. I don't want them to go straight at the Bucks. I want to see, like, for lack of better terms, the Bucks being the big boss at the end of the level.
Well, that's going to happen because these guys just came in. So other teams are going to take the L's, and that's what's going to happen. And it sucks for teams that have been there for a while, and, now a new team is in there, and they're taking a high spot, But they have great tag teams there. It was a good debut. They have names that are kind of I gotta it'll take me a couple of weeks probably to get their names right and figure out who the fuck is what, But they had a fun match, and then these guys show up. Butcher and Blade, they looked weird, man, in the white. Like nobody's talking about that. Like nobody's talked about that. But I'm like, yo, these don't look like the guys that showed up before. Because I thought one was bald, and then it looked like one guy like blonde hair. I don't know. It just looked weird as shit. But
they did without their kind of like steampunk like style gear. They did, and I'm glad you pointed that out because to me, I was like, that ain't the Butcher and the Blade. What the
no bunny?
fuck?
No bunny?
Allie was there. She just wasn't yet as the bunny.
Damn it.
Yeah, it was weird.
I need me a little furry in my life.
Well, all right, guys, I'm going to have to head out too, man. It's late as shit.
Yeah, all right. So we're going to kind of wrap up real quick. Mr. Villain, where can people find you real quick?
Oh, of course, you can find me here when, Matt invites me in. I'm always down to talk wrestling. So I could be here. You guys catch me here on Facebook, Jack of All Trivia. That's how, you get matches over there in that league. And then, of course, on YouTube at Jack of All Trivia, I host matches there and stuff. And it's yeah, that's it, brothers. It was good
All right,
talking to you
homie.
guys, man.
We'll see you next Thursday.
All right, brother, lube it up.
All right. So we're gonna kind of wrap up real quick. There's not really a whole lot with Dynamite that really happened. I want to talk about though the prep rally, the inner circle.
I know you want to. Let's talk about Britt though when she showed up.
Oh, I forgot about that.
We can do a quick tidbit on that one. I like the conspiracy board she did. It's pretty much Britt is laying out who she's gonna go after the moment she comes back.
Yeah, it was gold. It really was. Like, it was absolute gold. Yeah, I love the fact she popped on Tony Schiavone again. I love that whole back and forth. I think something might happen with her makeup artist. I know she was one in Impact. She was basically the same character in Impact. I know she can wrestle. Rebel, yeah, there you go. I'd like to see even just a minor feud between the two of them. She gets to the point, like, once Britt's back on her feet, she just slaps her, and they have even just a quick match on Dynamite.
Yeah. To Rebel, she's been with the company for a while. I mean, before she was on screen, she was doing on-job makeup for some of the women's division. And I mean, yeah, she is an independent wrestler, but at the same time, I mean, if she doesn't feel like she wants to wrestle at the moment, I like this little on-screen thing she has with Britt. She's not an underling though. She's just someone who's kind of, in a way, kind of like it's Britt trying to be the mean girl, and she's got this person on her side, and she keeps mistaking her name. And so finally, yeah, if we do get that small little feud between them, it'll just be like a quick month or a quick couple weeks.
Yeah, it's just a couple of back and forth, maybe a little match.
Britt picking up, she calls out Nyla. I loved how she went back and she says right there, Nyla, she does corner spots with perfection and flawlessness, but then she couldn't risk moving a couple inches to avoid me. I loved how she's pretty much going like, I don't care if you're face or heel. You hurt me, you're in my war path. And then she does return. Yeah, when she does return, she's going to be a different level of a doctor.
Yeah, and then she called out poor our favorite ref. Like, I absolutely loved it. Yeah, Britt is easily becoming one of my favorite. Maybe not wrestlers. Like, she's getting really good. She was really green when she started, but just characters. Like, she's fucking like. They even admitted they failed when they brought her out as face, and then she had that heel turn real quick. And it worked. It was almost as quick of a heel turn as Bayley coming out and taking out the Bayley buddies.
Well,
Rest in peace, Bayley buddies. Yeah. Rest in peace, Bayley buddies. You're up there with Vanguard 1.
They'll make a resurrection when Bayley becomes a face again. But until then, we're going with crop top, mop top Bayley for right now.
Which I think the role model, personally, I think the role model character works better with Britt than Bayley and Sasha.
Well, the problem with Bayley and Sasha is they're not giving Bayley a lot to do with role model. All they'll just have to do is a promo and say she's a role model. Britt, they give her this and she's using examples. Like, I love the rule list of a role model.
Don't hurt me.
Yes. Or when she had her first little spot with Rebel in her dentist's office, she even was giving out little examples of, oh, this is not a great example on how you want to be a role model. So, yeah, Brittany's given a lot more to work with here, and we wish her well on her recovery. Don't try to,
take your time.
Yeah, take your time. Make sure when your leg is healed that it's working perfectly. You don't want to speed the process, come back, and then get re-injured again.
Yeah, my computer's dying, so let's kind of quickly just hit real quick.
That pep rally.
Oh my God, Vicky Guerrero introducing his wives. Brilliant. Like, during Double or Nothing, I saw her and I went, that's Vicky Guerrero. That's fucking great. And then she comes out and introduces the inner circle, and the guys are coming out like covering their ears and shit. It was great. And the whole everybody was kind of going out, giving the little gifts. And then we get to the t-shirts champions. This shit was fucking hysterical. And then they get to the bubbly and the cheese. And he goes, you can see Sammy. We go back to that picture. And it was great. And then the Mike Tyson thing didn't really work for me. Like, he couldn't rip his fucking shirt off. Like, come on now. They should have cut that shirt a little better.
I'm pretty sure Mike wanted to do it himself. I mean, he didn't need no tear or anything like that. He just wanted, like, I can still go with it. So I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll still take your ass on. I mean, it was a little. Now maybe some memes out of that.
Well, now it's come out that we've got Tyson versus Jericho at Fyter Fest.
Yeah, I don't mind this honestly, because with Jericho after losing the championship and now with this whole thing with the Elite being on ice for a short period of time, Jericho needs something else, because I'm not saying he doesn't need he does if he's given a wrestler to fight like on the mid card that it lowers him, but just after this high profile feud, you need another one, especially if Fyter Fest is still it's going to be an annual thing. And this looks like a good opportunity to carry Mike Tyson from just being a glorified guest host, a guest star at Double or Nothing. You're actually going to involve him in a program, which I don't mind.
Sure. All right. Yeah, this was a great week in wrestling, brother. Mr. Payne, where can people find you? Let's wrap this up because we have gone 2 hours.
Well, let's finish this other 2 hours. So, okay, people can find me on TMG. You can look at me at some of the debate divisions. I either play in the matches or I'll judge. You guys, hopefully, you can see more of me here on Suplex City Chats, and also check me out on Jack of All Trivia as well. I play in some of their divisions too, in their teams division, hoping to get another shot in singles, and also I'm hoping to And also, I have a letterbox. You can check it out, Valentine316. I just did a list of ranking all 25 Bond movies I've watched from worst to best. They're all it's just my personal opinions, my personal picks. You can disagree with them or not. That's okay. And also, I'm going to try to get more involved with letterbox, though, even though at times I just kind of like to upload the occasional movie I just saw. But I'm going to try to have that be more of a thing. So that's where you guys can find me.
All right, and you can find me right here hosting, Suplex City Chats. We will absolutely be back next week because, we've got some more wrestling to talk about. This weekend, you can find us over on After Dark. We've got the first live interview with the latest fan league call-up, Adam Collins, Mr. Corruption himself. Next week, we'll be back with another chat, and then we will be the Saturday after that, we'll be closing up our 2-part Katie Silvis Extreme Terror Takeover. I was Matty G. That's Ryan Payne. To everybody watching, too sweet. Everybody enjoy yourself. And we'll see you next week for another chat.